You're in the public portion of the Maritime Museum's San Salvador shipyard. And right behind me is actually where we're building the ship. You can actually see the keel, which is the blue, and then the frames are the lighter color wood, and way in the back you can actually see the transom. Over here, I guess that turquoise color is actually our steam box. And then right out here in the front is where we're building the stem of the ship, and hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll have that erected up on the front of the ship. So here we have where the shipwrights are building the stem of the vessel. It's made out of 9 pieces of very large timbers. You can see them laying on their side on the sawhorses of the dunnage, and they're actually fitting these in so that they're going to be fitting very close to each other, so close that it'll be hard to slide a piece of paper between them. But this forms the very front part of the ship, very strong, very stout. Welcome to the front of the ship. We're just standing what will be just outside the starboard bow when the ship's built. And you can see about 90 feet behind me is the transom. And then you can see the frames in the middle, or close to the middle. They're going to be about 24 feet wide. The very top of those frames that you see is about where the deck of the San Salvador will be, the main deck. This is the 3 frames that we have up so far. You'll see the blue keel. Well, the reason it's blue is not because we thought that was the best color for it. It's actually because the woods that we're building the ship with are very green. And green woods are fine to build a ship with, but you have to be very careful how it dries, and you want to dry it very slowly. So what we've done is we've put a couple of coats of a penetrating 2-part epoxy on it to actually encapsulate it and slow up the drying process so that the wood will be stable and won't check and move around on us. You'll also see there's a glistening on our frames. Well, that's because we're putting shellac on the frames, again, because the southern live oak used to be a growing tree a month or so ago, and so it's very wet wood. Normally on oak you might let it dry a couple of years before you're working with it, but we're working with it immediately, and then we shellac it as soon as we get it in place so that this way it dries out very slowly. After all, we're going to be putting it in the water before too long, where it's going to be very wet. And of course, as everyone knows, when you put a boat in the water, the wood will swell up. We're now in the bilge of San Salvador. I'm actually standing what will be inside the boat. Of course, there'll be another very large timber running right here where my right knee is, going from all the way in the back on the transom post all the way up to the stem in the front. That timber is called the keelson. It's going to be about 12 inches wide, 10 inches high. Right over my right shoulder is the stern post, which is the big timbers that rise up in the middle and go canted back. So you have the transom frame, which creates that beautiful shape. You can see what the outside of the hull is going to look like, creating that wine glass shape, and then with what they call tumble home, where the ship actually gets narrower as it comes back high. Very shapely. She's going to look absolutely gorgeous. That's all made out of Purple Heart and Angelique, and that's why it has the dark color. This is frame 50 of San Salvador. It's the last full frame in the ship. You can see right here starting is the deadwood. Right here would be outside the ship. You can see the planking is going to come up here, so that the hull is going to start rising up now. And for the rest of the ship, the frames back here are just going to die somewhere here in the deadwood. This is the keel of San Salvador. Though there's more to it than just the 12 inches that you see here, there's another 14 inches of lead or wood in the back, but lead here, that will be improving the stability of the ship. So this is going to be about 26 inches right here. And then, just to give you an idea, the first 2x6 that you see going over my shoulder here, that's going to be about where the water line of the vessel will be. And then the second 2x6, they're called crosspaws, that will actually be where the main deck is. I'm now standing on the starboard quarter of San Salvador. Right about where my head is where the water line's going to be. So you're going to see a lot of the beautiful curve. Unfortunately, is going to be below the water line. There'll still be some curve above it though. And this big beam right here is going to be for the main deck. The planking, about 1.5 inches thick, will be sitting right on top of this. We're probably about 25 feet off the ground right now. San Salvador has two kinds of knees. It has hanging knees and lodging knees. And the hanging knees and the lodging knees allow us to strengthen the ship. And the important thing about a knee is that you want the grain to curve around so that it forms very, very strong. If the grain just went straight, then it'd be a real weak point here and it'd break right off. But because the grain goes around, these are Hackmatack knees that we got from Nova Scotia. And you can see the grain is just perfect. It goes right around the corner. This will be fairing this off here, and this will probably be the main deck here, and it'll be the side of the ship here, the whole planking, and this is what will provide strength. Here is the beam that will be carrying the aft castle deck. We're about 30 feet off the ground, and then we haven't built it yet, but soon we'll have the poop deck, which will be another 6 feet above where my hand is right now. You know, building this ship is just a blast for so many of the volunteers and the staff on this, and to be building something is historically significant as the first European vessel to explore our Pacific coast. For the next couple of years, there's just so many opportunities for people to come down and participate. And so the beauty of this project is it's being done right here in San Diego by San Diegans to actually be building the ship that discovered the Pacific coast, the first European vessel to explore our Pacific coast. It's just phenomenal. And then to be able to see the finished work become part of the fleet of vessels, historic vessels at the museum, is very exciting. Every day is exciting to come here to this site as the ship starts to rise up out of what used to be a parking lot in a park. It's just amazing, the metamorphosis that's occurring.